Hi guys. So all the people here is sleeping and my dogs also. So let's start a new tutorial. And this one I made because I saw this tutorial from Jogan on Vimeo about volume breaking and edge detail and so on. It was really cool. So if you want to check it out, here's the link for it. I'm going to show you. So search on Vimeo for Jogan. I hope it spells like that. And it's a great tutorial for volume break and with edge detail. So after seeing the tutorial, I had free time, 1 hour, and I've decided to make a quick tool just to test some stuff that I've learned with him. And I thought, well, I want to test it out how to break a wall using a predefined shape. So I developed a quick tool, and I'm going to show you first how to use it, and then I will explain how I made it. It's pretty simple, but it has some cool results. So first of all, I've exposed the values that I think it's necessary for this effect. So let's pick the shape. Okay, and I will show you in frame 0. Oops. First of all, what's happening? Okay, so we have a number of cells that are being created here on this shape, 200 particles. Let me show you 50, 10, and we can see in real time. I'm using these particles to break the object. I will explain later the concept, but okay, let's explain here these values so you understand the concept, and then we go inside TP. So 100 particles, then we have the path length, but because we can use different shapes, so if I put 10, 20, 50, this is the length of this path, but I will show you that later on I can use another shape and it has a really different value. So here I think 250 is enough to go from the start to the end. Then I have a spreading value. Okay, in thinking particles we can't use big titles, so neg value is negative value for the spreading, but I can't write spreading negative value. So this is something that I would like to see changed in the future, but it's, I don't know, maybe not so soon. So let's check it out. If the value is 0, so it's analyzing this spline, creating here the particles, then I'm shooting a ray to in Y, so in this direction here, to hit the wall and reproduce them, so it will create particles here. Cool. Then because volume break doesn't work quite well, or it works but it gives a non so interesting pattern when you use like this, so we have to make a spreading value here. So this is the -1, so I'm going to put -5 and then 5 so you can see. So this is the initial particles. So but if you want like for 500 particles, oops, 500 here, if you want to have more random, because the volume break works really well when you have random particles and not really ordered stuff. So I made a second position born based on this one, and only 50%. I can put 10%, 50%, 100%. Let's make it 50. And here I'm going to put the spread like 2 and 2, and this I can make more particles. Okay, so this is it. In frame 0, we are only shooting the ray, so we are creating the particles, shooting the ray, creating another particles, nothing more. In frame 1, we're using volume break to break the wall based on these particles. Okay, so let's wait a little bit and see the result. Okay. Since we are using 500 particles, this is a little bit slow, okay? But it's only the volume breaking, because now I press play and, well, you can see it's not so slow. But for this tutorial, let's make the values lower, so this is almost in real time. Let me put 100 particles, and let's see the difference now, okay? Okay, so here we have why are only these small particles active and the others keep on the wall, because I've created a rule here, so I'm going to explain the second part. So this creates a spreading, right, of the particles. Then I have the percentage, then I have the spreading in all the axes, and then I have the size to activate the effect. So the effect is to have this boom effect, like the particles removing from the wall. So now I'm going to change to 15, and I can put it in frame 1, and we can see in real time 5. It only activates the particles with 5 or less. 10, 15, and then press play. Let me put like this, let me remove it. Okay, and it's almost in real time. And then I made a helper to activate the effect. So if I want the effect from the top, I just move the activator and then press play, and boom, voila. Okay, so let's just change here from to the bottom, press play, and really cool stuff. Okay, so I'm keeping the subsampling very low for this tutorial, per half frame, so we can have everything almost in real time. But in the end, in the production, we have to change a little bit, because if I'm going to analyze the intersections and so on, maybe I have here some weird stuff, I don't know. I would have to try and find them. Okay, so let's continue. So let's give it a try and change the shape, okay, in frame 0. The cool thing about procedural stuff in TP is that if you change it, it's in real time. And let's see here. Okay, cool. And let's see the result. I'm going to put it here. Cool. Oh, now you see the importance of the length of the path. Now that I've changed a lot, I have to go here and change the path length to, like, say 400. Okay, cool. And maybe 150 particles, so we don't have here missing particles. And let's press play and see the result again. So in frame 1, cool, really cool stuff. So let's just make one more test with another shape that I've created here, and then we start to move inside TP. So this is my name, beautiful name. No, it's not, but okay. Let's hide. I'm going to choose TP in frame 0, remove the line, pick another line, okay, and let's go one frame. Cool. So now again the importance of the path length. Okay, let's go 2000, I think. Okay, let's change a little bit the settings for like 600 particles. Here I can go to 0.5 because if I use the spreading really high values, we will not understand the shape. So that's why I'm changing here this spreading values for this, and the active, like let's say 5. Let's give it a try. So you see that I've decreased the spreading, so I can have the shape, maybe 700 particles. Okay, let's see the results. So now, of course, it will be much slower because I'm using 700 particles, the frame that it's computing all the fragments. Okay, and let's see. Okay, active, I can change like to 6 maybe. The active, okay, again a little bit slow, but let's give it a try and press play. Okay, let me just, oh yeah, it's beginning here, and cool, really cool result. And this is it. Now I'm going to change the settings again. I'm going to unhide so we can explain how it was done. And let me just change this for more reasonable settings so it's in real time. Okay, and let's go inside TP. Okay, yeah, let me just check it like 100 particles or 150, and let's press play, and yeah, much faster. Cool. So let's go inside TP and show how it's done. So I'm not going to explain basic stuff. Well, this is basic for most of the gurus out there, but okay, I'm not going to explain this structure and so on. And okay, so the birth, this is organized like in my way. Of course you can do your way, but first this is the birth of the particles, then this is the intersection with the wall, then I have the first volume break, okay, then I have the activation, so where I define the size to activate the dynamics. So here I change the group inactive to the group active based on particle size. I'm going to explain a little bit better. Then I have the dynamics where I say I'm using I've tried we can do with different solvers, but this is faster, and for the tutorial it's okay, so I will remove this. Okay, so I'm using bullet, and okay, let's begin. Okay, so here position born based on a shape. Here, if you select this and press the right button, you can use UI as TD tool. So this value comes exposed here. So that's why you can access here. Okay, you just access outside TP. And then I have the random this random value, it's from 0 to 1500. I've exposed the second value. So basically this is the start and the end of the path. Okay, so I've started with these values, and then I decided to expose and name it as length. So it's here, this value, path length. Okay, and my way of doing TD tools, it's like this. I create here a folder, and then all the other folders inside, and then I connect to the main system all that I want. And then here on the main system, I go here and I create a rollup with all the things that I want to set up. Okay, so this is how I work for now that I'm a beginner, let's say. Okay, so the intersect. Cool. Here, let me explain. Here we have the original particles being created here, and I want to shoot them out to the wall in a specific, and this is the y-axis. So basically what I'm doing is that I'm trying to intercept the shooting, that is these particles here, with the wall. And with what direction? Well, I use the direction of these particles here, and I get the y direction. So basically it's saying, okay, where are the particles where I'm shooting? This group here. So and then after finding the target, I'm creating a new particles that I'm saying go to this cells group. I name it cells, you can name it whatever you want. Use it cells because in VolumeBreak you can VolumeBreak using cells. So it's the name that I think you should use. Cool. So, but I just want the being able to spread them out. So when they are born, I've added a position to the original one. So, and of course I've exposed the values with different seeds here. This is really important. I'm using different seeds because this is VolumeBreak works better if the particles have really random positions. If you use the same seed, it will make a pattern to much more regular, so be aware of that. Okay, so basically I'm just going to frame 0. So this is it. These are the green particles here. This creates the green particles with this random value added to their original position. Cool? I hope you understand. And then, okay, let's add more cells. Okay, so if I disable these ones, you will see here if I enable. So this I've tried only using I did try to break with only those first particles, but I found out that I needed extra random particles, so we have more natural breakups. Because if we use like that, and I'm using only a percentage, so let me try to explain here a little better with an image. So let's remove the spreading and let's remove like this. Okay, let's check what happens with VolumeBreak if I use like this. Okay, so it's really odd. It's not because it has so few particles, but let's see if I add spread 5 it's much more natural, the breaking. So that's why I've created like that. But if I use like this, the size is always, it's not the same size, but if I use the extra setup spread cells only in a percentage, it will give me more smaller detail. And let's see why. Let's go to frame 0 and okay, so if you see here, this creates only in 50% of the particles, and if I create like 5, this will be interpreted by VolumeBreaker and give more detail here, so I will have smaller chunks over here, and here I will have bigger chunks because they have smaller and fewer particles. Okay, so that's why I've created this system, and it really, I think it has cool results. Okay, so let's continue. Perspective, and oops, here. Okay, so this is why I created the detail break. Okay, and again I use the same methods. So it's analyzing the first cells. Here I define the percentage of these cells that I want to create the new ones, and I'm sending to the same group. Okay, and of course I'm exposing the on value that is on here, so you can turn it on and off. Cool. And then you have this cool random stuff over here that is exactly the same, and I'm exposing the values, and it's this negative distance and positive distance. So basically, as you can see, I'm adding in this case -2 and 2 on the original position, so because I'm adding, I'm not replacing. Cool. So this is how you make the cells for VolumeBreaker. And then let's see the setup for VolumeBreaker. It's like this. It's analyzing the wall mesh, that is this box here, and I'm using here, oops, here on the VolumeBreaker, the option of cells. So here it's the cells with the same name, and then these values don't matter because it will only analyze the number of particles and their position. Okay, so forget these values over here. Cool. And then I've used a noise with a tessellation value of 1. And what is this? Let me just explain you. Let's see the chunks, and let's wait a while because it's breaking. Okay, and let me just put less particles, so this is faster. Here I'm going to put 1. Okay, so let's see what is this value of ruggedness, noise, and tessellate 1. It's really simple. Okay, so if we see here, it's to have more detail on the inside of the chunks. So let me just remove the tessellation and you will see the difference. Okay, and remove the noise and the chunks will be much simpler. Of course, if I remove this, it will be even faster in the simulation and the breaking process. But I think it's pretty cool to have some detail, and of course you can add more detail on this and use a noise. Of course, I've used the noise map to have this irregular shape. Cool. So let's continue here. Okay, cool. So this is the VolumeBreaker using cells. Then the active. Okay, so I'm saying that all the chunks that are inactive, I'm analyzing its size, and I'm making a condition that all the particles that are less than this floating value that I'm exposing again. So if I go to here, I have here the size active. Basically, when this value is true, it changes group. Cool? It changes to active group. So all the chunks that are white here, and let me put here the size 0. So here they are all inactive. Value of 5. I don't have any particle. Oh, I have here a smaller, and so on. So if I change the value, for instance, for 50 or 100, all become active and all start to fall down. Okay, let me just hide this wall here because this is the original one. Cool. So in this last dynamic set, I have the activator. Basically, this is what, based on the distance of this helper here, it will activate this BT rigid body. So only when it's close to this object, it will become a rigid body, and it will start the solver to make its magic, basically. So, and why it's growing? So it's starting here and going until the end. Well, basically because I'm adding a value here. So let me just, so the distance is that little trick that I've showed in other tutorials. Okay, so the distance value starts with a floating of 5. So whenever they become active with the radius of 5, it will start to changing this parameter here. It will turn on, it's turning on this one, okay? And then it's adding based on the age. Well, I'm multiplying the value, so here it's 5 multiplied by 1 in frame 1. Okay, then in frame 2 it's 5 multiplied by 2, 3, and so on. Okay, so that's why it's becoming faster, because it's always multiplying 5 for 40 in this, and it starts to this behavior of rigid bodies. And that's it, guys, for now. I hope you like it. It's a pretty simple tutorial, but I like the effect, and I think it can be helpful for you somehow. So cheers, and see you in the next tutorial. Oh, let me show you what I'm doing for the next tutorial. If you have seen this until the end, you will know that the next one, it will be pretty cool. Let me just I will not save this. Okay, so the next tutorial, I've decided to make a different, more animated, and I will render and I will make effects and so on, but basically it's like this. So I have a character that is jumping and protecting himself from something that's coming from the sky, and I will make some clouds and debris here in super slow motion, and when he bangs here. So it will be a more complete tutorial and dynamic, let's say. This is a free model that I've found on the internet, free rigged model, because I want to make tutorials fast, let's say. But this one will take a little longer because it will have much more effects, all done TP and maybe film effects for the clouds. I don't know. I will decide later. So I hope you like it and see you next time. Bye bye.